When working with Spring Boot, we'll primarily have the choice between two build tools, Gradle and Maven. We have already seen how Maven is used to build Spring Boot projects. So in this chapter, we're going to focus on Gradle. Gradle is a build tool first started in 2009. It incorporates concepts from Ant and Maven. It uses a Groovy-based DSL or domain-specific language to declare project configuration in a build.gradle file. The build.gradle file serves a similar role to Maven's POM file. The tool was designed to simplify the construction of large projects that have multiple modules within them. Now, at this point, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed by Spring Boot because there's been quite a bit of new technologies that get introduced with it, such as YAML and Gradle. And that's kind of one of the roles of Spring Boot is to tie all of the different technologies together that we use when building a Spring project and to provide developers choices with the technologies they use within their projects. The great thing about Spring Boot and Spring Initializer is it limits the interaction we have with these new technologies, or it performs a lot of the work for us, so don't be deterred. Let's take a look at some of the goals for this chapter. In order to work with Gradle inside of STS, our IDE, we'll need to install some tooling into the product. We'll see how to install and work with BuildShip. BuildShip is an Eclipse plugin that provides Gradle support within the IDE. In order to better understand how Gradle builds projects, we'll take a look at how Gradle approaches the builds by creating a simple project and exploring the Gradle wrapper. The Gradle wrapper is a unique way of distributing the tool that really limits some of the version conflicts you can have when building out a project. From there, we'll move on and inspect a build.gradle file, and we'll explore the project configuration within that file to see what we need to specify in order to build out a Spring project. And within that build.gradle file, you're going to see some familiar characters. You'll see our starter POMs being used because Gradle can work with POM files through its dependency management system. And you'll also be introduced to some new players. So you will see the Spring Boot Gradle plugin. And this is a plugin developed by the folks at Spring Boot that helps aid the construction of executable jar files and also the construction of WAR files. Additionally, the plugin will allow us to run a Spring Boot application in place, and we'll see all that in action. So, for those of you who may not be too keen on the Maven approach, this chapter is for you. Gradle presents an attractive alternative to Maven. It combines some of the best practices from the popular build tools such as Ant and Maven, while at the same time adding unique capabilities to improve project builds for developers. As you'll see within the chapter, there is also integration with Spring Boot, and it can be used as an alternative to Maven.